Topping the news this half hour, parishes clustered, schools closing, donations down, and a diocese in bankruptcy. All big challenges for Buffalo Bishop Michael Fisher, who's shepherding the Western New York Catholic flock made up of more than 500,000 parishioners.
In a rare interview about the difficult times the church is facing, Buffalo's bishop sits down with News 4 Investigates. Luke Moretti reports.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Through Christ our Lord.
Bishop Michael Fisher hears the concern and understands why some parishioners feel uneasy about where the church is going.
It's painful when we're looking at closing schools or closing churches.
Fisher says there's no handbook to deal with this situation, but he says the diocese is developing a long-term plan and a short-term crisis plan.
You're looking at the vitality of a parish. You're looking at the pastoral and the spiritual care, which is always preeminent in my mind and in my thoughts.
In a rare television interview, Buffalo's 15th bishop talks about the balancing act of trying to meet the needs of the people with limited priests and resources, especially financial resources.
And I have to take all of that into consideration, and it means that we are going to have to close churches, close schools. We don't have the religious any longer. You know, our schools were filled with nuns and religious. They were paid nothing. Yeah, and you know, we have to give just wages to the teachers that we have, and we have less children now. I think even the public schools are struggling for students and their budgets. So these are things that we would have to grapple with, and those are tough decisions because you're dealing with people's faith and people's relationships.
Meanwhile, some Western New York Catholics are expressing concern as parishes are clustered and fewer priests are available.
You know, it's kind of like a priest of the day, like who's going to be the priest showing up today? Mm-hmm. And perhaps that connection is missing.
Yeah. And that is a concern of mine, obviously. You know, I think we've done a beautiful job of I guess, developing that relationship between parish and pastor and their people. I love being a pastor. It's all I yearned for when I was ordained. And to be on site, to be there for the people, that's important. But we're in a time now where we have many demands. As I said, we have 160 parishes, and we have less than 110 priests. I mean, there are more ministries than there are priests. My duty and responsibility as a shepherd is to hopefully make sure that on any given Sunday, that anybody that needs Mass and needs the Eucharist is going to be able to find a place they can go to. They may not have the same priest every week, but part of the family is also getting them together as a community and getting to know the pastor of several parishes.
So like the clustering of parishes.
Correct.
Right.
And we're not doing anything different than many other dioceses have had to do.
Some area Catholics have been critical of the millions of dollars spent in legal costs, $15 million since 2018, which includes normal legal costs, the Independent Reconciliation and Compensation Program for victims of abuse, legal costs from the State Attorney General's lawsuit against the diocese, and the Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing. How does Bishop Fisher respond to that?
What choice do we have? We had to defend ourselves in terms of the Attorney General suit, and now we have the Chapter 11, which I want to get out of, but it's going to take a lot of resources to do that. As I said, great harm has been done, and we have to make sure that healing is done in a way that it provides them with the survivor victims, the creditors, the resources that they need to heal. And that's going to mean sacrifice and pain on our part, but we have to do it as a family. That's the vision, is to get out of this bankruptcy, so that we can move on with the mission of the church. It's not about the liquidation of our church. You know, it's about making us stronger. But I think even if we weren't in Chapter 11, we would still have to be doing some of the things that we're doing in terms of the road to renewal, just in light of, again, our diminishing resources.
Can we expect more closings, more parishes to close, more schools to close?
I have to say yes. I have to say yes. But given that, I think we're going to emerge from this a stronger and, again, more collaborative church. We don't have a choice.
Prior to his appointment as Bishop of Buffalo on December 1st, 2020 by Pope Francis, Fisher tells News 4 Investigates that he had never been to Buffalo and had limited knowledge of what was transpiring within the diocese. An avalanche of sexual abuse claims and the subsequent bankruptcy filing by the diocese were already on the table by the time he arrived.
When I first arrived, the first thing I was told was that, by the way, your name is going on to a lawsuit. You know, the Attorney General is suing us. So, and then, oh, by the way, we have Chapter 11. When I said yes to the Holy Father, as I said, I didn't ask any questions what was going on here. You know, you're kind of focused on where you're at. And so when
did you not know about like what was happening here before you?
I had an inkling, but not to the degree that I've experienced since arriving, and so there's been a little bit of a learning curve, you know. But I still, if I had known what was going on, I still would have said yes.
Recently, Fisher has been the target of criticism by some longtime Catholics who say, among other things, that he has had no direct presence in the Catholic community to support parishioners during these challenging times. Fisher says he is out there.
I'm a priest, and being with people is what I enjoy, what I love, and do I do it perfectly? No, and I know I need to get better at getting out there. You know,
do you? Do you think you need to get out more often, or?
Oh, I always feel that way. I never feel that I give enough time. But I mean, like I said, I'm pretty stressed. I'm only one bishop.
The same 5 Catholics critical of Fisher are asking the Vatican to conduct a formal inquiry into his actions and decisions since he was appointed Bishop of Buffalo. Should it happen, Fisher says he's open to a review and that he has nothing to hide.
I think where we sometimes fail is communication. And I take blame for that too. It's hard for me to do these kind of interviews. You know,
do you like doing these interviews or no?
I'm basically a pretty shy person, and I've never had really any experience with the press. I just want to speak from my heart and answer as truthfully as I can. You know, that's how. But you know, I wouldn't say I'm not an extrovert who's out there, you know, wanting to be in the spotlight. But I do know that as a shepherd of this community, I do need to be out there more and to look for those opportunities that I'm able to share what we're doing when I can.
Admittedly, Fisher is concerned about attracting younger people into the Catholic faith, a demographic that has been dwindling over the years.
As someone who has a lot of nieces and nephews, I know there is a spiritual hunger in this generation.
Fisher says the church needs to be a beacon of hope for the younger generation to help them regain confidence. Reassure them, he says, that the church is a safe place to develop their relationship with God.
I know the young people are searching and hungering for that, and we need to make sure that they know that this is a place they can find that. We have to relate to them. It's about developing healthy relationships and communication with our young people, being with them.
As for the future, Bishop Michael Fisher says it will be smaller in terms of churches, but he's hopeful that young people will be engaged and their spiritual needs fulfilled. Luke Moretti, News 4.